There you go. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're gonna get started. This is our second meeting. And for those of us who are not here, we're recording this session just because I have a couple people that emailed and said they can't make it or recording for purposes of them being able to see this meeting. Renee is gonna lead most of the conversation about fundraising, the fun part, which we've already started. But for those of us who are new to Connexa and the Pamoja project who are joining us at Warrington, Uganda, this information is very helpful for us to figure out and connect with people like Rebecca that did the successful trailblazing fundraising last year. And so Renee, take it over and feel free to come in with questions. I don't know, Renee, how you're gonna run it. Do you want questions in the chat or at the end? But the mic is yours, my friend. Renee is amazing and she's been helping us with Organize the Shaft, which is the page you use for fundraising. She will talk about all that. I'll do it a disservice if I say anything. So I'm gonna hand over the microphone
You're
to
doing a disservice
lovely
to me,
Renee.
though. I was gonna start. I had a
Yeah,
whole thing speech
we'll
prepared.
we'll start with Mark and then
All right.
yeah.
Just
I was gonna say he
leapfrogging.
was muted.
Mark, I abandoned you. Sorry,
Yeah,
bro. Go
shoot.
for it. Go.
No, this is a yeah, we are recording this meeting and this is going to be meant to be shared for anybody who comes in at any point in time of the game because it's a really important conversation and I want to stress a couple things before we introduce Renee, like in regards to just our philosophy and our approach to the whole idea of fundraising. First of all, just the way our world works and the way our mental health system works and all that kind of stuff, like it's hard to be a therapist. It's not just that you're going to East Africa for 2 weeks and having to pay for everything that entails, but you have to take 2 weeks off of work, which means it's double whammy, right? And most of us as therapists, we don't get that paid time off and all that kind of stuff. So this is a huge difficult endeavor, and the kind of underlying tone that we always set and the attitude that we always have is that we don't want anything to get in the way of you being able to go and make it happen. That's our goal. There's all kind of, as we go along, there's going to be little questions, there's going to be little things that come up, maybe problems, and our goal is always like, how can we figure it out? Because we want you there, and that's the bottom line. So we're always attempting to solve problems and that kind of stuff. But we set up this structure and we set up this whole fundraising program, and we also take a very innovative stance. We want to try to figure out ways of raising money so that we can all go. The other thing that is related to that is we take a team approach. We're not just going like, how can I get myself to Kenya? It's how can we get the whole thing going? How can we get each other to go to Kenya? How can I help the other people? We look at the big picture number first, and say that's the goal that we're reaching, not just my own personal goal, because we want to
Drop off breakfast.
Yes, hold on one second.
Your name,
Breakfast arriving right in the middle of the meeting as predicted. So yeah, we're looking at that big number because that's the ultimate number that gets everybody there. And that includes all the people that we're scholarshiping and everything else when we fundraise. We're not just fundraising for ourselves. So those are big deals. The other thing too, and this is closer to my heart that I want to stress, is that fundraising is a community effort. And if you're like me, and you have problems with, oh my gosh, disruptions, beeping again. I think this is the end. Joking. Let's do this. I'll talk more about my philosophies around community fundraising a little bit later on, because it's really, really important that when we're doing this, we're sharing this with people and we're bringing people together and we're involving them in this mission. It's not just ourselves. So we'll talk more about that. But let me introduce Renee. She's amazing. She helped us last year and put an incredible fundraiser. Like we killed it last year. We raised close to $50,000. Most people were able to go and nobody had problems. And that is in large part because this amazing woman put this campaign together. So I'm going to hand it off to her and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I'm super grateful to be here. It's been really awesome seeing last year, just the I keep getting all the credit, but I really didn't do that much. Like it was everyone, all the therapists, all the people who came together and really rallied with their communities. And so it kind of speaks to the same piece that Mark was saying about the community fundraising. It is you guys, it's you, it's your communities, and it's coming together and really making something happen. So I'm gonna just walk through our campaign and creating your own campaign, your own personal campaign, and different ways of fundraising. So I think I'll start with just sharing the campaign with you all. Let me pull it up. So this is our Chuffed campaign. It is very similar to last year's, but also unique in a way. As we were doing research on the communities in Kenya, we found that it was very similar to Uganda. And so it's this theme is kind of building for Connexa around East Africa, and bringing these therapies to East Africa. And so our campaign is on a platform called Chuffed. And I really like Chuffed because, for one, they don't actually take any fees from your money that is donated. So it's awesome in that regard. And donors have the option to pay it forward to Chuffed, which a lot of people do, to give a little donation to the platform. I also like it because you can do these individual fundraisers. And yeah, I've had a lot of success with this campaign site. And we launched, I think, on the 23rd of January, around the end of January. So it's been up for a little bit. We kind of call this the pre-launch phase. It hasn't gone super public yet, so we haven't been promoting it widely. The pre-launch phase is a time where you really just want to get it. And Carlota really, she got this $1,000 donation. So it got to a number. It basically is like getting it to a place where you're seeing that donations have come in, so that when people go to the campaign, it's not zero. It's also a really awesome time to go through, and if you see anything that needs to shift, you can still kind of edit it because not a lot of eyes are on it. So that's actually something that would be awesome if all of you could take, really read through the whole thing. And if you have a note of something that should shift, or even a spelling error, anything like that, you can just shoot me an email and we can shift it, just because it's early enough in the campaign. And so yeah, it last year we were really using the word Ubuntu, and maybe Ronald, you could share a little bit about what that meant for Uganda, and then I'll share the new. We can kind of talk about the new word that we're using for Kenya.
I was on mute. I didn't shout, get to my level. Yeah, Renee, thank you so much. So last year was Ubuntu. Really, these are interconnected terms, actually. Ubuntu is the African idea of togetherness, community. And so we come under that umbrella of If some of you have seen It Takes the Village to Raise a Child, you know, phrases like I am because we are, it was the driving motivation behind the Uganda work, that people, professionals came together and they said, our people are suffering, our relationships are suffering, there's a lot of trauma and IPV, intimate partner violence. What can we do as a profession, as a professional organization that we're the professionals of the Uganda Counseling Association? Most of them are in that picture that you see on the screen. And so it was this rallying around this idea of the collective effort to, one, get the skill set, get the training of working with emotion and attachment in the therapy room to help people that have gone through different traumas in their relationships. And so that's really Ubuntu as the driving spirit for Uganda, which is very, very closely related to the Pamoja. In Kenya, it's, you know, we have Uganda, we have so many languages, about 56 languages in Kenya. They have so many languages too, but Swahili is the language that unites Kenyans together. And so that's a little bit about Ubuntu and kind of how we came together, professionals rallying together around this, you know, collective rallying together to tackle a need in the community. And they did that successfully. The community is continuously growing in Uganda, as you heard at the beginning of our conversation, where people like Rebecca and Sarah are doing different EFT concepts and community as well. And so the Ubuntu spirit continues to expand to other East African countries. But for now, I'll stop here and let Renee continue with introducing Pamoja, which we already heard a little bit about from the information meeting. But Renee, continue.
Yeah, so Pamoja is you know, we've been calling it Project Pamoja, and it's been kind of the spirit of this campaign, and really ties into this whole fundraising effort as well. We are seeking to raise $70,000 collectively. That includes all the program costs for if you are fundraising for your personal program costs. So yeah, this is the campaign. Please take a look. Let me know if there's anything that, any spelling errors or anything like that that could shift. And then I'm going to walk through just very briefly on how to sign up as a fundraiser. So you just scroll to the bottom of the campaign and you can click this button and it'll prompt you. It's not going to let me do it probably because I am the owner of this campaign, but it's going to prompt you and you just start filling all the information in. You can add a profile image. You don't need a team unless you are fundraising with multiple other people, like if you're on a fundraising team. So you can just leave it as no team and then you sign up. And so as soon as you sign up, what it does is it's going to shoot you to a fresh new campaign page. It's going to copy all the photos, all the videos, and all the content from the previous page onto your own. And at that point, you're going to have an opportunity to set your own goal and to personalize the campaign. So you can change the title, you can add a little bit in the beginning, and then you can change the goal. And for the personal campaigns, I've really found that it just taking a moment and really sitting with like who your community is can help you, you know, inform how you want to come at the campaign as a personal fundraiser. And so I always, you know, I think a personal note is really lovely, explaining what you're doing and why, keeping it really powerful but short. And yeah, I mean, I know personally, like when I'm asking for money from my community, people are really interested in what it means to me. Like that's why my community would donate to something that I was asking for donations for. And so just really sitting with that and personalizing it in a way that feels good to you. And then for the goal, you know, you want to cover your program costs, or maybe you're not, but if you are covering your program costs, you want to put that goal, but you also want to go higher and really get this general fundraiser boosted and through the donations that are coming through. And so I put a note like shoot for the moon, but also try and make something that you think you can hit, because it feels really good to hit your goal and kind of motivates you to continue to outreach and make efforts into fundraising. And also, if you hit your goal, if you hit your mark, raise it. And that happened to some people in last year when they were fundraising. They would hit 3K or and then they would you can bump the campaign and change your goal at that point and keep going if you have time. I wanted to note that last year we were doing 100% of the funds initially were going towards program costs, and we realized that we need to be supporting the general organizational costs as well. And so this year we're doing 25% towards the general organizational costs, and then 75% of the funds are going towards your program fees until you reach your program fees, and then of course 100% is going into the general fundraiser. And just a note as well that this doesn't include your flight, because it would complicate things because flights are different costs and stuff. So this is just program fees. And on the main campaign page, you can see everyone who has a personal fundraiser and how much money they've fundraised. So it's all logged really clearly. Everyone can see all the information. It's another reason why I liked the Chuffed campaign site. And yeah, I think that's kind of the gist of setting up your own campaign. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Renee, I'm in Canada,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know, maybe Mark or Ronald would answer this question, but Connexa is based in the US, right? So would people be able to get a tax donation?
That's a great question. I will notate that and ask our lawyer types
Thank you.
how that works. That's a great question.
All right. So I'm going to move into the fundraising packet.
Really quickly, Renee, too, I'll just add,
Yeah.
you may be very successful in your fundraising and, blow past your goal and that kind of stuff. You can absolutely help others fundraise as well. So if you're like raising a bunch of money and you know somebody else that's struggling and you want to help them, you can do that too. We're all flexible like that. It's a good part about this whole thing. And that happened last year. We had some people that had raised some money and then they weren't able to go, and they said, can I just give my money to this person for their efforts because they're struggling? And it's like, yeah, absolutely. So we have that kind of flexibility.
Can I ask how successful the fundraising was last year in terms of the percentages? Were there people that got their whole program covered by fundraising?
Oh yeah. I don't know percentages, and maybe Renee, but we there were a number of people that paid their entire trip. I'll put it this way, there was nobody that I remember that said, I can't do this or I'm struggling. Some people didn't fundraise because they just paid out of pocket. Some people had their goals immediately because of their community connections. Other people took a little while, but they totally got there. And sometimes they got assistance, like I was saying, from other people. So we didn't have anybody that was like, I can't do this, therefore I can't go. And that was kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, if you're in that place of struggle, that's why we're here. We're here to solve those problems. We're here to try to support you in every way possible. And part of the the general fund, it does help us to be able to move money around to help people if necessary, you know. So there's a lot of flexibility in those things. Again, it all comes down to the top number, you know. Make sure we can pay for it so we can actually do an externship, right? We have to make sure we pay for it, and we have to be able to make sure that Kenyans are there, and then we have to make sure we're there, and that includes all of us. So, you know, we do what we can to get there.
Can I add something, Mark?
No, Carlota, seen but not heard. You remember what we talked about?
I missed you, boss. So, for example, in my case, I was not even allowed to go, and not being allowed to go meant that my parents were not going to put any kind of money to it. So I fundraised everything, and people are much more generous than we think. And sometimes we just like, I was talking to Mark and we were deciding whether to go, whether I was going to jump in or not. And I was wondering, like, how am I going to fundraise so much money? And in the end, you start moving it, and not only one way is speaking and telling about the project, but also there are many events you can do afterwards. If you want, I can give you some ideas, because I'm I'm organizing 3 at the moment in Madrid. And those kind of things, like, people don't like just giving money away and maybe like just throwing the money, but like being involved in some way makes them like really try to encourage and to participate in the project. So I think there are many ideas and ways in which people can collaborate, and I think it is possible to fundraise everything.
And Carlota's bringing this, she's teeing this up again, and this is what I was gonna say before I was beeping earlier. But you know, there's the 2, I think, most effective aspects of fundraising for me are, number 1 is obviously the mission, right? The work that we're doing. And I really want to encourage you to adopt a mindset that you are inviting people to participate in the work, right? You're not inviting them to send you somewhere, okay, per se. You're not inviting them to help you go on a safari, okay? You're inviting them to change lives in Kenya. And that's the facts. Without them doing that, we can't do what we do. They're just as much a part of this family and this work as we are. We're the boots on the ground, right? But we need them. And so we are inviting them, and we're selling them, recruiting them to our work. And our passion around that is going to be the biggest thing that helps. The second piece is personal, right? People are going to be much more disposed to support you than supporting something that's a few degrees away from them, right? Carlota is a great example because she's so passionate and she's so excited, and that's infectious. And she's talking with a passion about this work and this purpose, and people say, I want to help you, right? And there, it's equal measures the mission, but it's also Carlota, and they're fired up to send her there, right? So the personal aspect of this, tapping into those things, is really what helps. But just to remind everybody that this is a community thing, and so when we are inviting people to give money, we're inviting them to be a part of the mission. It's not just to support from far away. That being said, there's some tools that we also have, and we have a lot more of them this year than we did last year. And some of this falls on my desk, and that is, we have a lot more in the way of visuals. We have a lot more in the way of video testimonials. We have a lot more in the way of giving people access to actually see what it looks like and hear firsthand what happens, which is powerful. And then following that up, your testimony, and I think this is a follow-up thing. It's very important, and you might arrange this or you might share this with people up front, that when I return, I am going to share with you my testimonial experience of what happened and what your money did for the people of Kenya. That's an important piece, you know, sharing that it's not just go and like, bye. No, we are coming back. If our community is sending us, we are coming back to report, right? And we need to be able to let them know, like, yeah, this is what happened, and it was because of you, you know? So that's an important aspect. You want to put that out in front and make sure people know that you are going to try to conclude them in the process as much as possible from beginning to end, you know? So
Also, we are all the time talking about being more active with Instagram so that people, when we're there and even before, like they can be able to see what we're doing with their money and what's happening and how everything, like being able to show everything that's happening. I think that's important. And we're also moving things like we've already talked about, like maybe the podcast or stuff that people can understand what's actually happening there.
and this is part of, I mean, Carlota is so good at this. So this is why we said, okay, Carlota, you're gonna help us with the social media stuff. I'm terrible, right? I'm just not, you know, there's a Connexa Instagram, believe it or not, and it's just dormant because yours truly just not spending a lot of time. But that's not good, right?
Add me there to the terrible ones. I'd say having Carlota in this has been
Yeah, you know,
amazing.
we're busy, like we want to do this and this. We don't want to sit there and make social media posts. But look, here's the deal. You know how this works, and this works in our business as well. We got to just be in people's worlds. We got to be in their faces. We've got to be that's how people can become aware. And sometimes, like if you're like me, you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like it's too much. No, it's not, it's just not too much. You know, we want them to constantly be seeing what you're up to and what you're doing. And that's where Carlota and her beautiful young Instagram social media loving generation excels.
This is my key to ask to people. I want to create what Sarah said in the group. So you can start thinking about doing a video and introducing yourself. That would be amazing. Then I can like jump in, create the videos to make it like closer for people to understand who's going and what we're doing and what happened last year. So yeah, just to start thinking about it, I'm gonna start bumping people and asking them through WhatsApp.
Totally. All right, Renee, we've taken too much of your time. Lead us to the important stuff.
Okay, so this is a fundraising packet. The idea behind it is to just support you all in different ways that you can fundraise. If you scroll through, this is from last year, there's a link. This is a short link to the campaign if you want a shorter one that's easier to access. And it gives a little bit about the work and what the ask and what we're asking for. And then it kind of dives into different ways that you can fundraise. So as they were touching on with the social media, that is one way that you can, you know, share with your community and share, you know, on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, if you're on any of those platforms. If you click this link here, it'll take you to a drive with social media captions, and we're going to be adding more graphics here that you can just pull, download, and then add to your social media. So just super easy ways, you know, hold on, let me go back. The captions that you use are right in here. So right now we only have one, but we'll be having more. And you just copy and paste this and add it into the chat or add your own personal piece as well. So those are different ways that you can share with your social media accounts. Let me go back to that. 1 second. And whoops, okay. Sharing screen and doing stuff is always a tricky thing for me. Another one is if you are not on social media, which I am actively trying to not be on it. So I've been really into like paper hand stuff too. I just wanted to emphasize that you can do that as well. If that's the way that you engage with your community, is in person and at cafes and at community centers, then you can do that too. So this is a flyer, and you just click on it and you print it, and print 10 copies, and there's a QR code, so people just take their phone and they can scan it. It goes straight to the page, print it out. I need to update this, I'm realizing, because we bumped the campaign, so I'll do that before we send it to you. But yeah, and then post them up in different areas in person if that feels more in alignment to you in the way that you want to fundraise. And then pull this up again. The final way is just directions, further directions to start your own personal group fundraiser. So you can just click on this link and it'll take you right to walking you through how to set up your own personal fundraiser. And just reiterating that if at any point you need support with this process, please feel free to email me. I had people last year who wanted, for me to be on the phone while they were walking through. I'm super happy to support you guys in any way that you need with that. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was an email draft that we're going to be sending you. This is a great way to send it out, like an initial send out to your community, is through email. And so this is going to get, if it hasn't already, it'll be forwarded to you. It's just a really basic template email. And in it, it has the fundraising packet. So you'll get everything. Feel free to copy and paste this email if this is kind of around the same thing that you want to send to your community. Just one thing I wanted to note is that you're going to receive your own specific link to your campaign when you set it up. And so you want to change that link, because right now this is the general fundraiser link. So yeah, you want to use your link so people go to your specific fundraiser. And then let's see, what else am I missing? Yeah, I just wanted to note, like, leveraging different, leveraging your skills and leveraging different days of the year and different, leveraging your skills by, if you are wanting to host a workshop and have 50% of the proceeds go towards the campaign, or if you are, how is it that you express yourself? If you're a writer, write a blog post and have that lead to the campaign. I'm always trying to find ways where it's like easy for you in the skills that you have, and using that, leveraging those to raise money for the initiative. And then the last, or another note, was that when you're close to your campaign, it's really a good time to, or close to your campaign goal, it's a really good time to send encouraging little pings to people, however you want to do it, whether it's through email or social media. We're only $500 away from my personal goal. It's like, what can we do to help reach that goal? We're almost there. We've almost made it. And yeah, I think that is it. I wanted to note too that we're in the middle of Black History Month. So a great time to honor and ask for fundraising. It's now until March 1st, and or it was February 1st to March 1st. And I think that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Renee, I was wondering, thank you for the information, very helpful. Last year, I can't recall, how long does it take once you sign up to be a fundraiser, like to do a personal fundraising page? Does it take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to set up one as an
You can-
individual?
Yeah, it could be as quick as 5 minutes, or you can spend an hour on it, really personalizing it. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is really up to you at that point, but it's super quick. It's like 5 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
thanks.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So Renee, you said something about, sorry. I'm trying to manage my doggos in the meantime. But you said something about the link. It's gonna take us to the general fundraiser, make your own. What is that? Like,
So
last time I
when
remember I just copied, pasted just the link that was there. So I don't understand that.
Yeah, this is actually a really good question because it's a really important piece. When you start your personal fundraiser, you're going to get a personal link to your campaign. And so that is the link. If you are fundraising for your program fees and for um, if you want the money to go in to be tracked under your name, you have to use the link that's given to you when you create your personal fundraiser. If you use the link to our campaign, there's no way that we're going to know any donations that come in are in like for you or for under your name. Of course, if something happens, I think last year a donation came through under a person's name, we can just track, but we want to avoid that if possible. And so, yeah, utilizing the link from your personal fundraiser is really important, and you'll get that as soon as you create, and you can customize it too. I think Dennis Eames last year, it was like his name, so you can customize it. You can make it whatever you want, but that link is your personal fundraising link.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to take this moment that Renee mentioned some key aspects that I think are a good transition into this next kind of conversation. And I want to introduce two amazing women who did a fantastic job in fundraising last year and really killed it. One of the ways that they did that, and one of the ways that I really want to encourage you to think, is they involve their communities. And we get creative. Now, Carlota maybe got the top prize for creativity when she went to her community and went to the local bar and figured out this fundraiser where, half the proceeds of I can't remember. Carlota, you explain it later. But yeah, she did this whole fundraiser with a local bar and they ended up giving a bunch of money. It was great. But more specifically, when you think in terms of what communities that you can rope into, not just individuals, but what communities, many of us come from an actual EFT community. So you have a built-in network already that you can reach out to. Some of us have other communities that, Shenny, you were mentioning you had a Zumba community, awesome, right? Get them involved. And one thing that you can do that I think is super powerful is you can create like events or something that is a rally or focal point that you can do a fundraiser event. And when you do that, you're speaking to large groups of people in a large audience, but you're also giving something back to them. As therapists, we can do a workshop. We can do I can go to my my Zumba class. I can go to my church. I can go to my community center and say, I'm happy to do a 3-hour relationship workshop, to promote my trip to Kenya to help, accomplish this mission. And so now people are coming and they're paying it forward. They're coming to your event. They're learning. It gives you a platform to speak to a larger audience about what we're doing. And Renee, that's just not fair. Bring a child in and distract, you gives you a platform to talk to a wide, group of people and then they get to be excited and you get to raise money at a larger level. And it's exposure, because you never know the people in those groups and who's going to get excited about that and want to spread the word and get more people. You know, and so I encourage you to think in the way of community and pay it forward kind of events. We have an amazing one already planned. I'm also thinking about doing, I did this a few years ago as a fundraiser. I did a online Hold Me Tight for therapists, because when do we as therapists get to participate, right, and be the clients? And it was great. It was a rousing success, and all the proceeds went to the work that we were doing. So things like that, we can think out of the box. We can be innovative in the way of paying it forward, and we can think of community, and it's also doubles as a way of sharing the work. But let me hand off then to Rebecca and Sarah, because these guys, they killed it, and they killed it doing exactly what we're talking about. So, and I'm partly, you know, I want to introduce you these guys, but with the caveat that our team and the people that went, and these guys and so many people that were so successful, we're here and we will be here to help you throughout the process. They are at your, they're your resource. So if you're stuck, and it's some of you, this is hard. This takes you out of your comfort zone. Some of us are really bad at asking for things for ourselves, much less asking for money. And so it really is important, and it's super helpful to connect with people who have just are gifted in that area, you know, and they say, oh, totally, it'll help you, you know, and that's what I really want. And so Rebecca, Sarah, take us away and just share a little bit about your experiences last year, and give us the secret sauce, how you were so successful.
You want to start, Rebecca?
Oh, I was going to ask you to start. I mean, I might have to think out loud. It's funny. It's definitely outside my comfort zone to ask people for donations. But I'm trying to think like what all went into it for me personally. I just felt very passionate and excited about the project. And I really felt passionate and excited about the project more than me going, except that felt very, you know, that was definitely part of it for me, of course, because it just felt so, just grabbed me so much. So some tips from Renee and from other team members were on the on the Chuff website, make it your own, tell your story, you know, include a photo of yourself and invite people to help you help this population in Kenya. You know, like as Mark was saying, make it or Renee was saying, make it personal, so that they're catching the vision of, oh, this person I know that that they maybe know your work or just your personality or your passion. They're going to be boots on the ground. So that was encouraging. I don't think I would have thought of that, but it was helpful for me too, to begin to articulate, like, why do I believe in this project? Why do I believe that I need to go on this? As a person of faith, I also felt it was kind of existential for me, and definitely, you know, as part of that, like if I'm supposed to, you know, put some prayers in there as well. If this is truly for me to be on, then I trust that it will come through. But personalizing it was pretty much the biggest thing. I asked, you know, I put it out to my personal network, a local professional network, and my EFT community. I would say the largest response is probably from my EFT community, mostly because they understand the work. And sorry, I just kind of went blank there for a minute. A lot of people said, it really surprised me, a lot of people said thank you for help letting us be part of it. And that was so humbling and encouraging. And I had two people, and it was like hundreds, I don't know. I don't know how many supporters I had, but a lot of people, two people kind of gave me an indirect smackdown for asking, like, it was indirect, but it was sort of pointed, like I shouldn't be asking to go on a trip. And that just like cut my gut, you know. It was just like, oh, that is so not how I want to come across. But then again, this team was so encouraging to me, and this time I think I feel just as, maybe even a little bit more nervous about fundraising again. There's a little part of me that I'm kind of comforting that says, who do you think you are, asking people for money again? And you know, so I'm working on that. And then there's like, because there's a part that says, well, I think I'm the person that went before and probably is even equipped to do it again. So I know there's a lot of sacrifices we all make to go, whether professional and for our family. And there's some logistics I actually haven't quite worked out yet. But I'm moving ahead in this direction. And I've had, when I got back, I did not ask my whole church community directly to support me, but when I got back, those that had heard about it said, will you please share about it? So I did get up and do like a 5-10 minute story of what we did. And I mentioned that there might be another trip. And I had kind of a wobbly moment inside myself, thinking like, is this right for me to go again? Had two people come up to me, two people that, you know, do not have a ton of cash to hand out, and said, please, if you go, please tell me. We want to support you. We can't go ourselves. In other words, you know, we're old, or we're this or that, but we want to go through you. And I was like, okay, I need to have a little more faith here. So personalize it. And I think that's the biggest thing. Trust that the people who want to support you will, and rely on this awesome group here to get you through the bumpy moments or brainstorm about some ideas. So I've already gotten a few more ideas churning, having heard this discussion today. So I guess that's what comes to my mind, but I'm happy to brainstorm and whatever we need, share with you all.
Rebecca, I'm glad you brought up that story, because I forgot about it, and I do remember last year. It just really shows how hard it can be, because you're putting yourself out there when you're asking. And yeah, there's going to be a couple people who may respond in a way that can really shut you down. But I love the flip side of that story, right? Where you actually got in front of your people and shared, you know, a story, and people got excited. People got fired up, you know, people were like enrolled in the conversation. And I just love that. And it reminds us, you know, this is the bigger picture. The world isn't going to change by itself. This is our opportunity to get involved. Another thing you mentioned too, I like the idea of the, you know, I think when we're fundraising, sometimes we go into this mind, some people do at least, go into this mindset of like, let's go after the big fish, right? Let's go after the rich people, you know, or whatever. And hey, that's great. Like if somebody is, you know, because yeah, you could find one person that will say, I'll just straight up sponsor you. It's possible. It's happened. But this other piece is so important. Like if just say that somebody came in and sponsored you, said, Rebecca, I'm writing the full check. I loved what you said. Of course, we're going to be ecstatic, right? But let's say you said, okay, I've got it, I've covered, and you stop fundraising. You are actually robbing the opportunity for other people to get involved. And some of those people may have very little money. But how important it is for them to feel like they can contribute and they can be involved and they can be a part. And they're just as much as part of that mission, giving what little that they have, which is a lot to them, than the people that have money. right? You know, and that's important. It's
Mm.
really important. And I love to hear that story. I love that. And you can just hear the excitement of that from somebody coming in, you know, and saying, oh, I want to do this, you know, so it's beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, one little tiny piece I also wrote in like kind of the footnotes of my fundraiser page. This does not cover my airfare and medical fees, blah, blah, blah. While it's not tax deductible, if you would like to directly support, here's my email, here's my Venmo. And that came in like 10s, 20s, and 50s. And it was enormously helpful. Supported me in getting a plane ticket. So
For sure, 100%. And that's a big part of it. That's why I feel bad. I'm like, I wish we could buy the plane tickets too. But just so you know, also in the 20s and the 50s, it helps for me to break things down in a way that's manageable. So if you're like, $5,000 is a lot of money. We're not doing $5,000, but I'm just using that number. You know, break it down into how many people would I need that could just give $100? You know, it's that kind of level that kind of makes it more manageable. Then you go, okay, you know, I need 50 people. And then you start thinking, I can get 50 people, you know, and so on and so forth. So it's a little bit easier to strategize and wrap your mind around when you're working on it.
Mike, would you like me to share some ideas that I haven't done them yet, but maybe it can give out some ideas for people to do things.
I mean, if you
fundraise?
want to interrupt Sarah because she was going to go next, I mean,
Sorry, no. Sorry,
you
goes
know, it's
first.
like
Sorry.
if you think you're more important and
All right,
you have to
all right,
include it.
Carlota. All right, guys. I'm wedging myself in here. Thank you, Rebecca. I'm going to be really quick, and I love everything you said, Rebecca, and would echo. For me, the personalization was a big piece. I sent out personalized emails to people. I also added in my professional and personal email signature line, a little thing that just said, I'm proudly supporting Project Uganda, you know, with a hyperlink in there. If you would also like to support, you know, we'd be grateful for your tax deductible donation. And just so every email that I sent out, might touch somebody or somebody might notice it. You know, in a little different way, I think my philosophy is that I am fundraising for the project. I'm not fundraising for myself. I can be pretty scrappy and I know how to budget. And so ultimately in the back of my head is I will pay for this myself if I have to, but I am fundraising for the greater good. And I really try to approach it that way. You know, I know not everybody is in that position, but that's kind of the mindset I go into with is I know how to be scrappy. I know how to budget my resources and I will make this happen somehow. I will also say I am not a part of a faith community, so that was not something that I could lean on. But I am very blessed to be a part of a very big international community since I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. And I really, really targeted people who, you know, are USAID workers, or, you know, my parents are connected to a lot of retired international development folks or State Department folks. And these are communities who really value cultural diplomacy and cultural work. And so I was able to get a lot of donations from folks in that area. And then just reaching out to the EFT community as well. I'm really lucky here at the Washington Baltimore Center that Dr. Catherine Ream is super supportive of Connexa. And so she has also graciously offered to host some events with the proceeds being donated to Connexa. So I would say if you have anybody who, you know, may not want to directly donate, but if they want to host something, I think that's a great gift and to run off of too. And also I want to say this year we are trying to really push another option is corporate sponsors. So my husband works for a tech startup. They have a sense of social responsibility. I'm planning on reaching out to them. Mark, Ronald, and I are working on putting a template letter together for a corporate sponsorship so that if a corporation does want to offer a donation, whatever amount, we will put their logo on the website. We'll feature them on Instagram. We really want to look at other options for funding. And that's just another, well, I think we haven't really gone into yet.
Awesome. The
That
corporate
just
sponsorship
prompts-
thing. Oh, go ahead, Rebecca.
I was gonna say that just prompted something. Thank you, Sarah. Like something you said. You know, the personal amount that it takes us to get there is a certain amount, and that was also like like I emphasized, any amount over this is going to the general needs, the scholarship, the funding, so people know that, like, again, it's not about me.
Yeah.
Hope was it's not about me going on a trip, but it's about getting these team members there and sponsoring the Ugandan or many attendees to the program or whatnot. So
Yeah, I mean, so much of what we raised last year went to scholarship for participants, which means directly to therapists, directly learning a skill, directly being able to work with people and clients in Uganda. It's powerful. Yeah. All right, Carlota, what do you got? Let's hear it.
Okay, so what I did last year, which turned out pretty good, was asking at a bar. I was in Ohio, so I figured out that being in Madrid, I could, in the end, I knew a lot of people, I could create events, but I was in Ohio where I didn't know anybody. So I didn't know how to engage people to help me out, being like nobody knowing me. So I asked at a bar if we could do some events. So what we did was ask each person that came in to the event to pay I think it was like $20 or 25. And then from that amount of money, I would take for the fundraiser, I don't know if it was 5. And so the bar was getting a lot of money and they had like free drinks. So that was a good point. We got like, I don't know, it was $600 or $700. So that was a good one. Also, now I'm doing next week, I'm doing with my brother paddle tournaments. So here in Spain, paddle is a big thing. It's like kind of like a tennis. So we love going to tournaments. So what they are going to do is to pay like $20 each person. And everything is going to go entirely for the fundraiser because I spoke to the people that have the courts and they're going to give it to us for free. So that's a good one too, like involving sports also, not only drinking. Also, I'm doing one with my mother that is helping me out, where we're doing a card tournament. So it's like I don't know if you've heard about like moves. This one is called canasta. I don't know how you call it in English. So it's where each person pays an amount of money, and then they just play the tournament, and everything goes for the fundraiser. Also, I was invited. Well, I spoke to my last school. This one could be really good for all of you. Like maybe you can talk to the school of your children or whatever. So I was planning on maybe giving a talk, which I spoke to Ronald and I told him that I might need help getting right to the information and everything. But I think it could be, they were asking me because it was mental health week last week. They were asking me to give like a mental health talk to children. But we also thought that like talking about anxiety or maybe stress during exams, or maybe even I'm in a clinic right now and I'm giving to parents a talk about rabietas, which is like when the child starts to get super upset and starts yelling and how to manage those moments. So maybe giving the access to parents like hey, I'm fundraising and maybe each person paid $10 for example, and just attending the talk. I mean, I'm young and I don't know if I'll be able to do that one, but I'm guessing that that could be an easy one for all of you. Yeah, that's about it for now. But if I get more ideas, I'll share them in case you can do them too.
Carlota is our innovator, and Carlota, even if you're young, you're powerful, so don't sell yourself short. Um, you know, and these are great examples. There's a lot of different little things like this, events, that you can tap into, that raise money. Some of them, maybe even most of them, may not have the avenue where you can speak. We're always looking for at least even 5 minutes just to get in front and say, this is what's going on. Makes it personal and educates people and gets them excited. But sometimes that doesn't happen. But you get these great events, all those people in the bar, they had a good time, and somehow, you know, they had no idea that they were supporting transforming lives in Uganda. If you are a part of any kind of, like if you have kids that are in high school, or if you are part of a university or any kind of place where there's sports venues, oftentimes they have things that are like the 50-50 raffles and stuff like that, where people are, they'll at a game, they'll sell raffle tickets, and, you know, the proceeds go to whatever fundraiser for that night. You know, and then a certain percentage goes to the raffle for a winner. Those are like so common. And if you have any kind of access, and you can approach those people and say like, hey, this is what our fundraiser is, and this is what we're doing. You know, so those are ideas as well. And man, if you're struggling with ideas, Carlota is a phone call away, and she will, you know, she'll get you going, because she's constantly thinking about this stuff.
And if you need flyers or anything by things that you're doing and you want to share with people, like right now I'm doing one for the card tournament. I also did the one for the paddle. So if you need help out, please ask me. I'll help you out. Happy.
That's a big one. Getting the publicity out there, and she just offered to help you, so take that up. She will do it, and she's really good at it.
And if you do tournaments or things and you get to film videos of what you're doing to fundraise, also send it to me so I can put it in the Instagram post. I'm just being like, now that I have so many people listening to me, I'm asking.
Well, I have an Instagram question for you, Carlota. May I ask it?
Awesome.
Yes. So I have yet to get on Instagram, but I'm very close. I've created a login for myself. But someone was telling me how important video reels are. And I was wondering if you could make a video reel that maybe has a little music in the background, and then the testimonials of the participants of the Hold Me Tight or the workshop. It could be one or the other. And then some pictures in the background, and then it kind of finishes with the Connexa.
But Mark, I would need those testimonials in order to do it.
Yeah, we can create that stuff.
I don't know, but just like if you could occasionally like drop us something like that we could add our fundraiser link to, or the general one.
Absolutely. So I was gonna do the reels. That what I thought about the idea that Sarah had, which I thought it was really good. I was going to do reels with each person talking about how it impacted them and introducing themselves, something short, but I think it gets people to be very close. But I think just testimonials of people that have been there, as Mark has it, could be really good, just to make it closer.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. That's a good idea.
My friends, we're kind of out of time. And I get to move on to chemotherapy today, so that's exciting. Right after this, they just came in and they're like, "Are you ready? Is your meeting done?" Like 5 minutes. So Ronald, Renee, if you guys have any last words, you know.
I was listening to the experts on fundraising and kind of sat back. It's amazing, Renee and team, they work with you setting up, hearing Carlota's stories. I mean, it's powerful. Carlota, as I put in the chat, that I will hit you up with the bar idea. But you know, it's brilliant. It's really remembering the bigger cause, and people. I think it was Rebecca who said people are more. Was it Rebecca or Carlota? People are more generous and they want to give than we think. but it has to be personal. And once it connects with you, I think those that understand you and know your drive and mission and goal in life to transform relationships in and communities that have a hard time getting these kinds of evidence-based high quality intervention, they'll get it. You don't have to explain it so much. And so yeah, go get going. Renee is available to support with setting up personal fundraisers if you have a problem. I believe her email is in the packet. For those who registered, you will have access to this packet after this meeting if you haven't. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for showing up, and I'm pumped. Over to Renee.
Yeah, thank you all. I don't have anything to add. Super thorough and excited to see all your personal campaigns. And yeah, I am an email or phone call away. So if you need support, thank you all.
Awesome.
All right, Pamoja.
Project Promotion. The bottom
Pamoja.
line with fundraising, it may be daunting, it may be scary, but we're all in it together and we're all here to help each other. And we have a very successful team that did a great job last year that's here to help you now. So even if you're getting this and watching this recording late in the game and you're like, what do I do? What do I do? We're here to help you. We'll get you there. So sound good, everybody?
Awesome, y'all.
Thank you.
Have a
Take
great
care.
weekend.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Asante sana. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Karibu sana. Bye, Sheni. Sheni, where are you in Canada? Oh, you're mute.
Sorry, I'm in Edmonton in Alberta. And I was gonna ask, I tried to pay the registration fee through PayPal, but it's, I don't know, like, you know, when it says send money, I need to know, like, is it connexa.org? Is it like, so I can add as a payee, right?
The link should take you directly to our PayPal account.
The link, okay. The
Yeah.
link from, like, the link from the
Registration.
registration,
link
but okay, oh,
from
okay, I tried that. Okay, I'll try it again, the registration page, right? Because I filled out all the information and then I went to pay through PayPal and.
If you run into problems, Sheni will find you.
Okay.
We know where to find you. We'll get your money. We'll get our money sooner or later.
Yes, for sure. Okay, all right. I wish you well, Mark. I'm an ex-nurse before I became a therapist. I'm an ex-nurse. I'm actually an oncology nurse, so I wish you well with your chemo, you know.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
Yeah, my heart's with you there.
I'm in a phenomenal hospital, one of the best in the world for leukemia, and I got amazing care at UCSD, University of California, San Diego.
Ronald, I'm just gonna write that down because I sent you the wrong email. AS.
Yeah, that's why I saw it late. You sent it to my former institution and I
Yeah. So I
check.
didn't know. So just let me just AS.
Ronald, where I don't see my record button anymore unless it's, oh, there it is.